Welcome to this full moon astrological update. We are looking at the full moon in Leo, which is going to be happening on the 16th of February, 2022. Now, so interesting because I'm looking outside my window right now and it looks like early March. It does not look like mid February because I can see there is a little snow on the grass and also just mainly the grass, mainly the trees or the branches without the leaves. Um, and that can be refreshing to see in the middle of winter as a little sort of teaser for spring. Spring in winter. Spring and winter. So, yeah. So that's what's going on. Um, So looking at the full moon, I just want to show you one thing before I get to the article. Now, when I do articles, when I read articles, then I do it for a reason, to read the information, to tell you the information, using that as a source, not the whole thing, but as a source, and adding a lot of my own things into it as kind of a background thing. So it's not, oh, I don't hand it over to that entirely, um, but I use it um, for this video to provide information and also the information that I can give you. So there should be nothing um, wrong with that at all. So as you can tell that the sun is in Aquarius, and you can see that the sun is just going to move into the sign of Pisces. Because if you haven't looked at an astrological chart wheel before, this is what it looks like. You see all of the signs along here. You see all of the glyphs of the signs. So, for instance, good grief. Uh, uh, okay. Okay, I didn't know. I just couldn't move that thing. So you see all the signs. So you see Aries. This is the glyph for Aries, the ram's head. You see Taurus, which is the bull right here. Gemini, the twins. Cancer, Zook. I don't know why I say that. But the crab right here. Leo, the lion. Um, Virgo, the virgin. Libra, the scales. Scorpio. And you can see the little symbol here where it just it just kind of goes in. It just like is a thing that just goes in. It just points in to a direction. An M. An M. Think of the M. And then that little arrow pointing that way, like it's going to really, really get into those depths and get into the yumminess of that. When I think of that, I just noticed that Sagittarius, obviously the archer, the arrow, that's that glyph here. Capricorn, Aquarius, see the waves that are not entirely coming together. They look together, but you can see a split in the middle. Yes, indeed, that makes a lot of sense. So that is why those waves are split up. Opposites. A detached sign in them. Pisces is the two fishes going in opposite directions. Okay, so we know this information, but what we also need to look at is this wheel, these houses right here. And I don't know the exact time that this full moon is, but I do know the day and I put in a generic time. So at this time, the MC would be right between Capricorn and Aquarius. It would be split. So the person would be very career oriented. They would, go up the mountain and make sure that, the things in the career is taken care of. But then also here to change things up, here to be out of the box, and all of that. So anyway, I just thought that I'd mention that. Remember that the midheaven is the career um, area of your chart. It points to your highest calling, your career, and it's at the top of the chart. And then the IC is at the bottom, so it can be opposite, just like the ascendant is opposite the descendant, where you're falling from. Not exactly the south node, but anyway. Um, we have some interesting areas here because looking at the first impressions of a natal chart, think of the east, think of the west side of the chart as very formidable, very strong, very, very just really holding down the fort and really, defending yourself and having to protect the ego, protect your individual self and personality, all of that. And then you move over to the the eastern side, or just more western uh, directions and charts. Move over to this side. Move over to this side, and you have somebody who will be very people pleasing and very open and very cooperative. Um, Down here is really, really having to do with roots that are in the ground, unresolved issues, unhealed karma that could lead towards destruction later on. And there was a serial killer who had a lot of planets way down here. Moving to the top end of the chart, you have, um, you know, almost if you think about, um, just something just left in the middle of the yard. Or I was watching the astrologer Kathy Rose, and she was talking about first impressions of the chart on Stormy Grace's YouTube Astrology Academy, and she was talking about it being like branches, being exposed and revealed to the world, being so flexible that you are not standing up for yourself and what you're not, and you're basically, what you're about, and what the rug that just people walk all over. So anyway, that's what I know, but. You see all these planets in these different signs, and then you see all these lines. And you can see by looking at symbols, I happen to know that a triangle is a trine, which is beautiful, harmonious energy as well. And then a square, which is 90 degrees, is not so much. It's like if two things, like two signs in the same mode, were um, wrestling with one another. They're fighting with one another. And then down here, you can see the houses, which relate to the areas of your life. And I'm not going to go through them exactly, but I just want to show you the features. You can look at the sun, which is this symbol right here. Sun, Helio, is in Aquarius, and the moon is in Leo, which is this thing right here, and it is opposite. The sun and the moon are in opposition. So it's an opposite sort of flavor. And so I think it helps when you see the actual astrological chart of what is going on. So the moon is in Leo, and whenever the moon is in Leo, it is a more outward and a more expressive sort of energy. We really, really want to shine in that spotlight and really get the attention and care. It's a wonderful time for drama, creativity, um, really shining like the sun or gold when the moon is in Leo. And I'm trying to move into something that is not so limiting when I do these astrological videos. And then the sun is in Aquarius directly opposite this. So, looking at this, before I get into the nitty gritty of what is going on astrologically, let me just say that Aquarius is very detached. It doesn't really care what you think. It's all about ideas. It is all about intellectual things going on in the mind. It is all about, have you thought of this? Or have you tried this? Or, how could, like, I'm trying to think of an example. How could we, help the earth? And better the earth? How can we, with Uranus and Taurus, make the food supply better and healthier? And that's kind of specific. And that's my word for being specific, giving an example, being specific, but also being general at the same time. So if I were to say, taking care of the land, for example, uh, then I, then I feel like that would be specific and general at the same time. So, making the argument that you can't make up words, well, we're living in the Aquarian age, and we have to keep expanding, and it takes people to create things and come up with things um, and invent things. This is Aquarius, and I invented that. So. I think that that's kind of a silly argument to make. Things have to kind of spread and develop, but it has to start from somewhere and someone, doesn't it? So, Aquarius beats to the beat of its own drum, follows its own rhythm, wants to be independent and individualistic. Leo is all about, I love dressing up. I want your approval. I want to be the center of attention. I want to be loved. I want to cared for. I want to get involved in these social circles. I want people to recognize me and all the things that I have to give. I am here to shine. I am here to shine doing my own things, being the individual, um, and being the one who will not conform and trying to find a new way of doing art, such as music and painting, and various other things, because Aquarians are artists, people that are not limited to that old narrow ways of thinking that can really create and innovate into new things. And they're also trendsetters for fashion, food, and many other areas of life. And I could certainly get into some very specific examples with that. And because of that uniqueness that is standing out from the crowd, that is so fascinating and so misunderstood, because Aquarians are fascinated by others, and others are fascinated with Aquarians and what they want to do, what kinds of shirts with foreign languages on them that they would wear, for instance. Because I know I was watching the impression of Deborah Silverman, the first astrologer that I had ever watched, and and followed, and she did her impression of Aquarius, and she had that, um, sh- uh, she had a shirt with like Chinese writing on it. So I make it into some specific things, but it's important for that sort of variation. And so that's what I'm trying to do. So, um, yeah, standing out, shining because of that, all those types of things. They're just because Leo, it's a magnetic quality. You're drawn to these people. You know, and now we're going to move over to the specifics. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to enlarge my screen. This is exactly what I've said. I look at this and then I bring my own things into it. Now, it says, and the reason why I talked a lot about the natal chart was because Aquarius rules astrology. Things metaphysical. Aquarius is all about being the individual, standing out, not being like everyone else, and your natal chart is very, very unique to you. Everyone is a unique individual with unique fate and natal chart. And it's also your experiences and upbringing in life. And the people in your life that can really influence that. I mean, there is psychology and there is nature versus nurture, but you don't separate the two. You don't separate the psychology from the astrology. Because Carl Jung did say, after all, that psychology will be a dinosaur extinct sort of science, meaning it will make more sense with astrology if you combine the two together. Carl Jung did say that. I'm not making that up. So, I showed you the chart because Aquarius rules astrology. So, anyway, the full moon in Leo is on February the 16th, 2022. So Leo is all about creativity. It is all about creative expression, expressing yourself through maybe acting in a play, acting in a movie, singing a song. Really, really, it's all about the hotness and the the real bold expression and emotion when it comes to those types of things. You find a lot of singers who have a Leo sun, maybe a Leo moon as well, shining for your uniqueness. Because the thing that you know, whereas Leo shining off your uniqueness, when they can come together, they really, really make sense together. It really, really makes sense for the Leo to evolve through the Aquarius and the Aquarius to evolve through the Leo because that sounds more inviting and and intriguing to me. That's when the two signs evolve through the opposite sign, and they can very, very easily do this with this particular polarity opposition. So these are just the times. So on something about a snow moon, it's interesting. So this says that a snow moon came from native and ancient societies because we get a bunch of flurries, blizzards, and squalls during February. So, it's interesting that it's talking about snow because I'm looking outside and I am not seeing too much snow outside. Remember that that full moons can be very emotional. they can really highlight those areas and really bring things to surface, bring it out. And especially with the moon in Leo, which is very passionate and very expressive and bold with this moon in Leo. Um, I remember the last time, last year, when the full moon in Leo came around on, I believe it was the 28th of January. Maybe there were other reasons, but I did not get the best sleep that night. Because think of the full moon, uh, howling at the moon, and this full moon's happening in winter time. So anyway, um, so spiritually, this could be when you are halfway through something challenging that could require your patience, pacing it out, coming at it one step at a time, doing this step, crossing it off, moving on to the next step, going, do you one task at a time, that sort of thing. Because um, as a North Node in Taurus, and also Saturn being the planet that is the task master as well. Um, so, well, we know that spring is up and coming. It said that there. So, um, reviewing Leo. Leo is all about joy. Leo, can relate to the inner child who is very innocent, who is very pure, who has a real, just the enthusiasm, love for life, being very, very carefree and very optimistic and spontaneous and in the present moment. So, very common for the sign Aries and Leo, uh, and Sagittarius, but I think Aries and Leo more so is the saying of being in the moment, because Sagittarius is the archer that does kind of strive for future things, but especially Aries and Leo both very in the moment, both. I don't want to separate one from the other in that sort of general way. They are different fire signs, however. They share a lot of the similarities because of that fire element. However, they are different. Leo is the sign that is so focused on the self, lives life with a self fulfilling sort of journey, and wants to be fulfilled in that journey. So happy, fun, exuberant, and generally we get to let really expressing self-expression and just someone who again has a lot of joy of life and just um, can, can be very uh, daring, courageous, proud, positive, um, and really having the zest for life. So, um, now, planets rule signs. So, um, remember that Sun rules Leo and Saturn rules both Capricorn and Aquarius. Um, so remember that. So remember that Aquarius was ruled by Saturn before Uranus was discovered. And then it rules Aquarius. Or then Uranus rules Aquarius. And Saturn also rules. Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius. So, there's an edginess as well with this. So, full moons are when the sun and moon are opposite. You know, which is which creates the full moon. So it's about what are we not tolerating? What are we not going to just, you know, accept and uh, just things in your life that need saying no to. And it's time to shine your own light with this full moon. Especially because of the light that the full moon shines to begin with. So Aquarius is very humanitarian, other person oriented, other people oriented, humanity as a whole. Leo is all about the self. So it's not about being selfish and putting yourself first in a way that hurts others, but selfish in a good way, or as I like to say, self-caring. Self-caring. Selfish in a good way equals self-caring. And you know, this can involve so many things. What are you, maybe it could be what you're passionate about, maybe what could be something that lights you up, something that you enjoy doing. And you know, definitely take advantage of that during the time. So something called a grand cross formed by the sun and moon to the nodes of the moon. So the nodes of the moon are always opposite each other. They move retrograde, meaning they move backwards. The north node is the dragon's head, south node the dragon's tail. North node is Dharma. Believe so, where we're going. The south node is all the karma. And indeed, with the nodes where they are, north node Taurus, south node Scorpio, it's very, very karmic. The Scorpio is all about that kind of baggage in yourself that needs to be healed and embraced in a way with compassion and acceptance, and turning the darkness into light, and thereby moving into the north node using that south node high road. So, south node high road. I just realized I had that wrong. So, you know, looking at, you know, where are we limited? Where are we limiting ourselves? Where could we be more flexible and not being, you know, so rigid in limitations? Maybe. So it says, this is what it says, that if you've been resistant to change, the things that need transformation in your life will require some sort of game plan to get out of a rut that is hindering you. Aquarius is all about changing things up. Aquarius is not going to necessarily, you know, day in, day out do the same steps of, you know, mopping, sweeping, dusting, you know, all those things in the same order, you know, with an air signs coming up with new ways of doing things, it needs that variety. It needs the variety and expansion to keep it exciting and interesting and fresh and new and worthwhile. So, Aquarius is also emotionally sort of healthfully detached at best. So looking at as it says, theatrics and using the ego in a way that serves in a healthy way. Pride can be good, but not in the way where it can hurt others. And also moderations with some of these things as well. Um, Leo also looks at romance as well, romance and dating. That sort of fifth house matters. So can look at where in relationships we might need um, for better communication and different things like that. So um so Mercury and Pluto. Mercury, we looked at this in last week's video. I made a video about Mercury conjunct Pluto, all about um, finding out all the secrets with that. And quincunx to the moon and form a sextile, very, very harmonious angle. So that gets a little technical. So really a chance with Aquarius is really expanding, trying new things. Look at what is a hindrance to that, and then breaking out and spicing it up. So where can you spice things up? So Jupiter and Uranus. Jupiter is in Pisces, Uranus is in Taurus, so they're very, very compatible. Pisces and Taurus, earth and water. Spirituality, abundance, and the pleasantness, because Taurus is all about the pleasures and the simple pleasures in life, and Pisces is all about the uh, dreams and escapism and um, you know infinite possibilities. So there's an abundance. A key thing as well that Venus and Mars are going to be coupling together both in Aquarius as well. So looking at this, the moon can be karmic. It also looks at ancestry as well. And so drawing your own boundaries as well. So there are low amounts of social and mental energy mixed in. And Mars and Venus, which are personal planets, Mars is action and assertion, and Venus is love and relationships, really set up for good community and openness and willing to add your own sort of spin to things as you add your own piece of the puzzle into it. And moon is what makes you feel emotionally secure, grounded, and focused as well, with Mars and Capricorn that I talk about. So these are just some generic questions, and I'm kind of pulling things from this. Are you putting yourself first? Have you learned To become more regal is another one. What are the goals that you want to achieve in your situation? Have you worked on boosting your confidence? Leo is very confident. It's a sort of fire sign. Um, um, Understand that it no longer serves you to keep blending in with the crowd. Realizing it's time for you to step forward, shine like everyone else. How are you expressing yourself and your talents? Understand that you need to take more pride in yourself, in all of these things. Being creative, self-express. Um, and, uh, and there's so many things, that you could look at. So then, a couple themes to talk about, and I'm not going through every single one of these. I'm just kind of listing off. So, looking at yourself, looking at your needs, for yourself. This could also be self-care, as well. Not getting so caught up in helping others, doing this and that. Um, when you don't feel appreciated, speaking up about that. Embracing your style. Leo is very materialistic. Leo has a very, very good sense of style. They want to go to that store and get that really, really good, Louis Vuitton purse, or just any, because it can be very materialistic, and that is a great similarity between the two signs, Taurus and Leo, in which I really, really want to put those two together because I think that as a match, um, they could really get along, for so many different reasons, and I do not believe in bad zodiac sign compatibility. So, um, time to shine, as well. So, get in touch with a bold expression of yourself, reclaim your voice, sing your own song. The Canary Spirit from Spirit Animal Oracle by Colette Bjorn Reed, sing your own song. Um, it's time to let your creativity soar, becoming inspired to work on your passions. And, it's okay to stand out, and be noticed, for standing out. Um, Again, spicing things up, having some adventure in your life, doing new things, stretching yourself, expanding yourself, not getting touched in the humdrum and the mundane, same, day in, day out sort of. No, 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 no. There has to be more meaning and positive motivation, for things, motivators. Um, so there's also things like this. So lightheartedness and humor. Leo rules the heart. Leo rules that center of the heart that is very passionate, very feeling, very expressive, and very generous as well. Um, who are you loyal to? Because Leo is also very loyal as a sign. So, that is the full moon in Leo coming up on February 16th. Hope you liked this video. Click the subscribe button, hit the like button so that more will be able to see it. Hit the bell, so that you don't miss future videos of mine. Thank you for watching.